So today we're going to be talking about finding the x and y intercepts of a linear function. So we have a linear function here in standard form. 3x minus 4y is 24. To find the x and the y intercept, think about the graph. The y-intercept is going to occur when it crosses the y-axis. So that intercept has to be somewhere along here. The x-intercept has to occur somewhere along here. So, when we're on that y-axis, what is the x value? Well, the x value is always, going to be 0. So as we go up, the x value would remain 0 as the y value increased. As we go down, the x value remains 0 as the y value decreases. So our x value will always be 0 at that intercept. So we can use that to our advantage and say 3 times 0 minus 4y equals 24. Well, that's what it'll be. It'll be 0 when we're on the y-axis. We can then solve for y. So that's negative 4y equals 24. Because 3 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 4y is negative 4y. Divide both sides by negative 4. These cancel. We get y equals 24 divided by 4. Well, a positive divided by negative is negative. So we put our negative sign in. And then 24 divided by 4 is 6. So we found our y-intercept. The y-intercept occurs at 0, negative 6. So that's one of our two intercepts. Let's look at the x-intercept. So similarly, if we were to come over here, x will change, but y remains 0. If we go over here, x changes, but y remains 0. So, to find the x-intercept, we need to go ahead and set y equal to 0. So, we can now solve that equation for x. That's going to come up here in just a second. So that gives us 3x is equal to 24 because 4 times 0 is 0, and 3x minus 0 remains 3x. Divide by 3. These cancel out, and we get x is equal to 8. So we get our x-intercept. Well, the x value is 8, and the y value has to be 0. So that's how we find the intercepts using this first method when we're dealing with an equation in standard form. So next, let's look at how to use the slope-intercept form to do the same thing. This is the same equation we just worked with, but now we're going to solve it into slope-intercept form. So we need to get y by itself. To do that, I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Here, those cancel, and I'm left with negative 4y. But on the other side, I can't combine a constant with a variable. So I leave 3x, or negative 3x in front, plus 24. Now I need to get rid of that negative 4 here. If I do it here, I have to do it to the whole equation. So I'm going to do it to this whole side here. These cancel, and I get y equals, I can split that into two separate fractions. Negative 4 over negative 4x minus 24 over 4. And I just pulled that negative up there. You know what, we'll take it step by step here. So I've just split it into two separate fractions. My final step here, negative divided by negative becomes positive 3/4 x. A positive divided by negative is negative. 24 divided by 4 is 6. So, now that it is in slope-intercept form, this is my y-intercept. And a y-intercept always has an x value of 0. And that negative is included. So that's my first step. Now that I've solved it, I have my y-intercept. Finding the x-intercept does still require me to go back and solve the equation. Or, if I want to think of it graphically, I could use the graph and think about where I'm at. So I'm at 0 on the x-axis, and I'm down here at negative 6. And I can go up 3 over 4. So I go up 3 over 4. So that would be negative, so that would be 4, negative 3, go up 3 over 4 again, and that would give me 8, 0. So I could think about that through kind of graphically like that if I wanted to. But to go through and solve it again, I would just plug in a 0 here and say, times x minus 6. Solve that, and you will get 8 for your x value. So it's very similar, and we get our x-intercept at 8, 0, which is the same values we had found before up here. Now, your teacher may tell you a specific way to do it, but if they don't, there is no benefit to one way over another.